Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Real Tech, Real Talk, a podcast from cxpose.tech. Tech leaders are the driving force behind innovation, but they often face misconceptions and stereotypes. So how does this impact their ability to lead, attract talent, and connect with customers? Joining us to discuss this today is a seasoned tech leader and someone who believes in making technology as stylish as it is functional. Jack Lim, the director of the World Congress on Innovation and Technology, also known as WCIT. Hello, Jack. Welcome to Real Tech, Real Talk.
Hello, hi, Kumaran. Happy to be here.
Thank you for joining us as well. Let's start with maybe you could tell us a little bit about the World Congress on Innovation and Technology and the places that the Congress has been to date.
Sure. WCIT, or World Congress on Innovation and Technology, has been, this is the 28th edition, the one coming up in October. It will be held at a place called Yerevan, the capital of Armenia. Last year, year 2023, it was held in Kuching, and previous years was in Penang. KL hosted it. This is the second time for Armenia. And for the 28th edition, he has spawned the entire globe, making it one of the truly global tech events.
Okay. So this year, how many events do you roughly have? So far, I think you already have one or two, right? I think.
This is the only
First one.
This is the first and the only one and the big one.
Okay, all right.
We are focusing on.
Okay, so you do have participants from around the world, coming up and having maybe conference sessions or round tables and things like that.
Correct. WCIP is owned by WITSA. WITSA is an international organization and association of tech associations. We have up to about 80 over tech associations as members. So at the very least, we expect participants from all these 80 countries or even more.
Okay, right. Got it. Okay, so today we're going to a little bit out of the box to discuss the perception of tech leaders and innovators. There's often a perception in popular culture that tech leaders and innovators fit a certain nerd stereotype. It may sound harsh, but that's how some people tend to perceive it. And some movies have actually portrayed tech geniuses as being like socially awkward individuals. But we know that the tech industry is incredibly diverse, filled with individuals who have a wide range of interests, personalities, and backgrounds, right? So I'm curious, Jack, what do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions about tech leaders and the stereotype? I mean, are there qualities or aspects of tech culture that are actually quite cool, but maybe overlooked by the general public?
Well, interesting question, I must say. No doubt in any industry, there are people who are very technically savvy. We call them the nerds. And their conversations would often revolve around the technical aspect of their jobs. For instance, even doctors, some doctors, when you talk to them, they can just go on and on and on about how you perform a surgery. That would make them a nerdy doctor, perhaps. But of course, in the tech industry, as you rightly put, it has become so pervasive and consumerized, if I may use that word. There are more and more non-tech geeks or technically savvy people joining the bandwagon and in the position of decision making. And when you speak to these people, you would realize that if you take away the lenses of your own misconception or preconception, you find that they are a human being after all. Human beings with their dreams, desires, and some very interesting hobbies. For instance, I used to work a lot with tech leaders when I was working for a company called Gartner and also MDEC. You find that if you give them a bit more time to draw the human out of the role that they are playing, they would often be able to share with you some of the very interesting food places, the kind of spots to go fishing, and even they play Pokemon, making them very human, not just the geeks or the nerds that we portray them to be.
That's the thing, people often see things on the surface and make assumptions, right? Somebody once told me about this. I mean, I had a similar, not really a discussion, but it was like a off the cuff conversation. Somebody actually said, about this, nerd and cool stuff. There's a phrase that used to say, "One man's trash is another man's treasure," right? So similarly, one man's nerd could be another man's cool, and vice versa, whichever you look at it. So
Absolutely.
it's how you perceive it. It doesn't necessarily mean that. I mean, if you remember those days, right? When we used to watch Superman on TV back in the 80s and all that. So when Clark Kent puts on his glasses as a reporter, so he is like, he's supposed to be this nerdy reporter. Okay, that's how it was perceived those days. But today's Superman, whether it's the TV series or the movie, when Clark Kent puts on his glasses, it's supposed to be cool, hunky, that kind of a look. So you see how times have changed, right? So again, it's perception. Yeah, it's not necessarily the actual, actual case. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the case of your analogy about Clark Kent, I think it's quite similar to a lot of us. When we wake up in the morning, we don the suit, we put on our job or work mode, and we have to conform to, well, perhaps, if I may call it liberally, the SOPs that comes
Yeah.
with the job, things that you can say and cannot say. However, once we hit 5 p.m. That's where the human
Yeah.
or your own personalities will
The real
shine and
person.
come
Yeah.
out. Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
and in the case of Superman too, if push comes to the shove, when you are in certain trouble or in a desperate mode, perhaps your real personality will surface and take
Yeah.
over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the tech industry certainly has its fair share of cool moments. We've seen it everywhere. Groundbreaking innovations to like sleek product launches. There's always room for pushing the boundaries of creativity and fun. From your view, what aspects of the tech industry could you feel could benefit from a cool makeover, even if it's already considered cool by many? I mean, perhaps maybe some bold or unconventional ideas that you may have for injecting a little bit more fun and creativity and excitement into the tech scene.
Yeah, currently the common refrain is that we need to humanize IT,
Mhm.
making IT more friendly, human
Yeah.
friendly, or idiot proof, if I may, some people might say. However, I think if you want to think of a bold move, we should also glamorize IT.
Mhm.
And this is a nod to the fact that today, even in some boardrooms, the
Mhm.
IT leader is shaping the narrative.
Okay.
In the past, when we do a business strategy paper, after we complete the strategy paper, we will get the IT person to see how his IT strategy will align to the business strategy. But today, due to the fact that the world has changed, there are quite a lot of CEOs are asking the IT leader to sit in the boardroom or the planning
Mhm.
stage to share with the board members or even the the CEO's office what are some of the cool gadgets out there, what are some of the technological trends out there, and they would have to articulate a vision and therefore be a true business leader. Hence the word CIO, right? If I can zoom in a role in the typical org chart, the Chief Information Officer.
Yeah.
The moment one becomes a chief, you are no longer just a silo looking
Yeah.
into your own little narrow silo, but it's more of a
Yeah.
horizontal imperative. Yeah. The tech leader may now have to embrace a bit more about sales, need to know more about marketing, need to understand what are the challenges facing funding and accounts. And you have to then ask the question, what can technology do to overcome that or even to accelerate a vision? Thus making him a more well-rounded business executive, if I may.
Now
Therefore,
that yeah, sorry,
the
go on.
so we talk about humanizing it, but the glamorization part, if I may add a little bit, is the fact that a lot of people are looking up to these new role models. However, uh, more often than not, the news about IT leaders and who they are only appearing in tech magazines and business magazines. But there are a lot of lifestyle magazines out there. I foresee in the near future more and more tech leaders will appear in lifestyle magazines. The kind of events that they go might be popular. People, there will be a following, and the glamorization part might be the next step.
So it's like how you have pilots appearing in covers of lifestyle magazine. And then, it makes sense because eventually when the image or the perception evolves, then people will start looking at tech leaders as someone that, that you should aspire to be like also, not just in terms of how good, how intelligent and smart they are, but in terms of how they carry themselves, the way, the character, the aura or certain vibe that they have. So those kind of stuff. So yeah, it's possible, we could be seeing that in the near future as well. Talking about tech leaders, some tech leaders and companies have a knack for making technology not just innovative but also very exciting and aspirational. So, from your experience, are there any particular tech leaders or companies, past or present, that you think are doing like a great job of breaking the mold and showcasing the cool factor of tech?
I have a couple of examples I can think of. Pre-pandemic, if you remember, there was a case of the Fukushima nuclear issue where
Yeah,
the
that's right.
seas, there's a meltdown in their nuclear plant. At that
Yep.
time, there's one particular shipping company that I know of. The board was challenged by media, and people were asking them a lot of questions about the business continuity of the shipping business because they are operating very near a lot of coastlines that may have a nuclear power plant. And what if there's another issue of a meltdown? And not many people in the business or the business part of the boardroom were able to answer with a high degree of confidence. But the CIO of the shipping company, who happens to be a friend of mine, his name is Chakib, he took up the mantle of being the spokesperson, and he assured the media and therefore the investors that you should continue to invest in the company, because even though in the unlikely event of another issue that cropped up, the data of the company is stored in some various clouds with the failover, with the redundancy side or the mirror side, and thus giving the confidence to the media and the investors alike that company, while they're operating in a highly dangerous environment, they are still safe and the data is protected. So that was one case where you find that when disaster happens, the kind of language and the kind of assurance that the public needed can be found from the tech leader.
Yeah.
In recent times too, we also see in the case of say Picom, they have a CIO chapter, Picom CIO chapter, and they run quite a big event every year called the Picom CIO chapter. And I saw the fact that CIO leaders are stepping up and they become the organizing chair. They come up with the whole entire programming, and in fact, they even was the MC, leading the conversation. So therefore, the blurring of business and IT, that is a very apparent scene that you can see where tech leaders are taking up the role of doing marketing, doing events and whatnot.
So basically, the role has evolved beyond just just talking, just focusing and looking at technology only. You have to be a little more holistic than what people assume a tech leader is actually, right?
Correct. Breaking the mold, initially the expectation was a tech leader is just taking care of technology. But with technology and business now crossing and blurring the lines, I think a tech leader also have to play the role of a business leader too.
And then the transition to become more cool than what they're perceived to be right now. Now that we have touched on, the perception, whether you're nerd, or cool, or whatever way people want to look at tech leaders, I'd like to take a slightly serious track here. I mean, basically, you see, like we have. I mean, we always hear about the exciting advancements in technology, but rarely discuss the human cost behind these innovations and success, right? So with the growing dependence on IT and the expectation of near perfect uptime, the pressure on tech professionals seems like higher today than ever before. So as someone who understands the demands of the tech industry, how do you think this constant pressure impacts the well-being of IT professionals, both physically and mentally? or at least from what you've seen so far for the number of years that you've been in this industry?
Yeah, you mentioned the word expectations. It's now 24/7 real time. Uh, Hence, the first thing we must all do, whether you're a business or an IT professional, is to look at how you manage those expectations. And of course, there are many ways, in my opinion, that one could manage the expectation. It is if you are able to shape the narrative and you can paint a picture of what is the desired outcome, and working backwards, this is a gap. You close the gap through using certain technology, and you articulate the vision and let people know very well. So it's about how you communicate the vision and how you communicate how we can together overcome it. Of course, a lot of more people are also looking at AI, artificial intelligence. A lot of the mundane tasks that we do can technically be replaced by an AI agent, opening up more time for the professional to focus on more innovative stuff. So imagine, when from the day we wake up until from the moment we wake up until we go to bed, there are many things that are quite repetitive.
Yeah.
So the thinking now is how can maybe AI augment that for you, thus freeing up you to become to do the things that you're more passionate. And the third area, I feel that the advancement in the medical field under the medtech and whatnot, coupled with the fact that psychological behavioral science, people are more willing to open up and share, goes a long way in helping to identifying early on the onset of an issue, so that we can address them properly. In some companies, I see they already have those helpline, the 1-800 number. Whenever you feel like you are, feeling a little bit uncomfortable, flustered, or moving into depression, you can always pick up a call and somebody can talk to you.
Yeah, that's the key word, right? Depression. That's where you got to be very, very careful.
And depression is an invisible thing. Hence, people around you also must be alert to that. The challenge now is we are still kind of like working from home most of the time. That's the traditional network of support system in terms of friends and colleagues who are able to observe you in your work mode and maybe non-work mode may find it a little bit harder to know, the person that we are talking on the other side of the Zoom. Are they really feeling unhappy or sad? But I suppose there are technology now that will be able to augment that as well.
Yeah.
So it is like a paradox. Technology leads to a situation where people are having mental health challenges, but we need probably more technology to help it overcome it.
Yeah. That's an interesting thing. Yeah, you're right. You have, the very same thing that causes the stress is probably what's going to help you out of it. Is that what you're saying?
But of course, that's how the measurement of success will have to come into. In the past, technology is a tool for us to make more money or gain more market share. But today, there is a growing movement around the world called tech for good, where even suppliers of technology or even users of technology, they're also embracing a concept called AI for good, tech for good, or the ethical usage of technology. The flip side of that is that people will just use it for pure profit, rampant profit, to the detriment of humanity and the people's welfare.
There'll always be these temptations, isn't it?
So the measurement of
can't seem to run away from it.
Yeah, how do we measure success as a society as a whole and all that? It's also being reimagined around the globe.
Right, great stuff, Jack. All right, so let's end today's session on an inspirational note, right? So,
Sure.
Who are the 3 most influential people in your life, and how have they impacted you?
Wow. The 3 most, maybe I'll zoom into 2. One from my personal circle and maybe one from my professional circle. I think from my personal circle, would be my grandfather, to be honest. He belonged to that generation of migrants who came
Mm-hmm.
from China without anything in his pockets. And the situation or the condition of back then Malaya was probably even more chaotic than what we have right now. But his ability to assess the situation, collaborate effectively, and communicate on what he wants allowed him to not only survive, but kind of like flourish enough to allow a third generation like me in Malaysia to have a slightly good life. Hence, whenever I fall into the situation where I think, oh, life is tough and whatnot, I would then channel back to the times when our forebears, right, not just my grandfather, when they came, obviously the situation was more chaotic and not
Yeah,
so, and the information was not so freely available to help you make good decisions. Um,
absolutely.
and if I may be a bit cheeky, the other person I do look up to is the prime minister, the fourth prime minister of our country, because
Mm-hmm.
Tutun Mahathir, when he was the leader who shaped the Vision 2020, back then the promise, of course, of Vision 2020 is to create a higher income nation come 2020 and beyond. We are kind of like not there yet, but I admire his capability to kind of like unite the nation and have everybody focus on going through this hyper development. And some of the evidence of his strategy we still see are, the highways, the big buildings, the airports. Some might argue that they are quite dated and they need to have a new lease of life. But again, he has also set up a foundation through a vision that he was able to put together. Right now, it may not be the most maybe popular thing to say, but I think he has contributed quite a lot
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
the
there's no
development
denying that. Yeah.
of tech. So I do admire what he has done for at least the tech industry of the country.
Okay. So there's only two. It's okay. That's right. We can't think of any.
Yeah, if you really want to add on a third one, I would say I look up to Steve Jobs as well.
Okay.
Yeah, where and I want to focus more on the part that not so much his contributions to the tech, but his contribution to the medical field. I was told, and I read his autobiography, the one that was written by Walter Isaacson. He was interviewed before he passed away due to the pancreatic cancer. Did you know that Steve Jobs outlived the prognosis of the doctor by quite a number of years? Normally, when one is diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, the current technology, one would only, once it's detected, it's already stage 3 and stage 4. Hence, it's quite irreversible. And within months or even 1 or 2 years, usually the people will pass away. But I think he lived close to a decade due to his resolve and his usage of data and digitization. Of course, there's money to prolong his life and to use himself as a test case study. But the net result is that because of that 10 years, it kind of like allowed the doctors to zoom deeper into this thing called pancreatic cancer. And I believe right now, because of that contribution of his, the medical advancement combined with technology, of course, thanks to his resolve in staying alive, would probably help a lot more patients with pancreas issue live longer and have a better quality of life. So this is also goes to show that being a tech leader, sometimes your mindset and your logical thinking and the way you use technology can have a real profound impact on the society at large as well, not just for profit and power.
Okay, interesting information. I think this is honestly I didn't know this. Thanks for explaining this because I think this will be good information for a lot of them. It's a nice way to end the show. So Now, I'd like to just say that, remember the next time you encounter a tech leader, right, look beyond the stereotypes. They might just be the coolest person in the room. So thank you, Jack. This has been fun. I hope you enjoyed the discussion as well.
I did. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kumaran. Hope to see you again. Bye bye.
Sure. Remember, there's more to tech leaders than meets the eye. They're not just innovators. They're also humans with stories, passions, and challenges. So let's keep it cool, keep it creative, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the world of tech. Thank you for watching. Please check out cxpose.tech on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and our website cxpose.tech. The links are in the description. I'll see you again in the next episode with more tech and more talk.